9 years ago, this man acted as accomplice to the attack on Mother Base. He then provided support to Skullface. Conspiring with Eli, he repaired Sahelanthropus in secret. His research materials caused the leak at the quarantine facility, which in turn caused the Walbachia mutation, letting the parasites off their chains. We lost a lot of good men. He also stands accused of murdering one of his own family, hiding the body.
I haven't killed anyone. The rest is all wrong too. The inspection was supposed to help everyone. I sacrificed myself for my companions just as much as any of you. Why won't you believe me?
What if Huey was telling the truth? What if he was innocent of the crimes he's accused of? Who could really be behind the attacks against Mother Base and the Diamond Dogs?
Please.
Guilty! All counts. He's responsible for all of this!
I knew who they really were all along.
Think of all the men!
I can't believe we ever bought that cover story.
He didn't lose a damn thing!
And I was the parasite below, feeding off Zero's power.
This is the enemy!
No use for me.
And he's here on his knees!
Yes, I'll be in touch. My dear Zero.
Eyes on Kazuhira. A message from the parasites.
What you are about to witness is the downfall of a man who could never claim his place on the throne. This video will combine lore, analysis, and theory.
We first met as enemies on the battlefield. You mean Columbia? Yeah. You found a way to fight back, even in the face of death, even when you knew you were going to die. That's the mark of a true warrior. And 2 years later, here we are.
Miller's story began in 1972 when he first met Big Boss in Colombia, the two being on opposite sides at the time. After joining MSF, Kaz quickly rose through the ranks, becoming Big Boss's right-hand man in less than 2 years. By 1974, Miller made contact with Cypher and Zero, seeing in the mysterious organization a chance for MSF and for himself to grow and profit from war. From that point on, Miller became an ally of Zero behind Big Boss's back.
I wonder how Big Boss will respond. Yes, but I'm only interested in the business angle.
In exchange for an offshore base and funding to expand, Zero sent his triple agent Pacifica Ocean to infiltrate MSF and keep watch over Big Boss. Using what seemed to be a defensive mission in Costa Rica as a cover, Paz's true goal was actually to force Big Boss to return to the Patriots. In the meantime, while Miller was relentlessly working to expand MSF, the arrival of Huey Emmerich brought him closer to his ambitions of power thanks to the development of Metal Gear Zeke. However, once Peace Walker's nuclear warhead was mounted on Zeke, Paz took control of the machine and threatened to launch a nuclear strike on the United States unless Big Boss agreed to join Cypher. Big Boss refused and managed to neutralize both Zeke and Paz. It was only after the battle that Kaz finally admitted he had known about Paz's true identity and Cypher's involvement from the start.
I knew Paz and the Professor. I knew who they really were all along. Paz wasn't just CIA, you know. She was working for the KGB too. And for this Cypher group. In other words, she was a triple agent.
You knew all of this?
Wait, let me finish.
He justified his collaboration with Zero by pointing to MSF and the role he believed the organization would play in the war economy, something he saw as inevitable with the rise of the Cold War. But what Kazuhira Miller didn't realize was that through this betrayal, he no longer existed in the eyes of Big Boss. You've probably heard this before if you've seen my previous videos. Everything suggests that Ground Zeroes might be an imaginary or virtual alternate reality experienced by Venom Snake during his brainwashing. The goal of this process is to turn him into Big Boss's double. In other words, the Big Boss we play in Ground Zeroes isn't the real one, but Venom himself, who believes he is him. This makes the events of the game unreliable and even uncertain. This is the interpretation that this chapter is based on. February 1975, MSF receives an inspection request from the International Atomic Energy Agency, which suspects them of hiding a nuclear weapon. Believing he is doing the right thing, Huey agrees to the inspection, and then, on March 4th, Amanda informs Big Boss and the others that Paz might still be alive, but held captive by the XOF at Camp Omega in Cuba. Upon hearing the news, Chico decides to go solo and manages to reach the camp, only to be captured himself. The XOF commander Skullface then forces him to send a distress message to Big Boss, asking him to come rescue both him and Paz.
Give my regards to your boss when you get home.
Convinced that Big Boss would come for them, Skullface has 2 bombs implanted inside Paz's belly, but he's not alone at that moment. In fact, we can hear a familiar voice by his side.
Give her the shot already!
Prep the package.
As you've heard, Miller was there alongside Skullface several days before Big Boss made his move. Clearly, he seems to be working with Cypher and plotting against the boss, or at least that's what we're led to believe, not to mention this other guy who, according to a POW, spoke Russian and who was breaking men left and right. On March 14th, 1975, Big Boss, who already knew about Paz and Chico's situation, is briefed by Miller on his rescue mission.
10 days ago, we got reports that Paz was still alive. She survived.
She was rescued by Belizean fishermen who found her drifting in the Caribbean.
So what's the plan? Silence her before we're compromised?
No, I've got something else in mind.
So who's the other target?
That would be Chico. He's being held in the same area as Paz.
Snake, it's Chico. I need your help. Cypher's holding me on a US military base in Cuba. Paz is here too.
This marks the first trap set for Venom, leading him to believe that Big Boss was unaware of their whereabouts. What's more, in contrast to the events of Peace Walker, the roles are swapped here. Big Boss is portrayed as the villain ready to kill Paz, and Miller as the good man willing to save her.
So what's the plan? Silence her before we're compromised?
2 days later, on March 16th, Operation Trojan Horse begins. While XOF heads toward MSF's mother base, Big Boss infiltrates Camp Omega. Upon his arrival, we hear Miller say,
"The rain was coming down just as hard the day we met Paz. I only want peace for my country." I can't believe we ever bought that cover story.
Once again, Venom is being trapped through Miller, who uses this lie in an attempt to erase his past betrayal and rewrite history, manipulating Venom, who is soon to become Big Boss's double. Regardless, Big Boss proceeds with his mission and manages to free Chico and Paz, but on the way back, he finds out that his base has been completely destroyed by XOF.
They played us like a damn fiddle!
While trying to escape, the helicopter carrying him, Miller, Chico, Paz, and the medic is caught in an explosion under suspicious circumstances. Was it the bombs inside Paz's body? An enemy rocket attack? A collision with another helicopter? Or was it a lie all along? After all, we first see Big Boss unconscious after this supposed incident, only to later see him fully conscious in his helicopter as if nothing had happened. Not to mention the game's cover. Regarding Miller, was he really working with Skullface? Was he actually present in Ground Zeroes? Or was he simply part of Venom's brainwashing, designed to erase the memory of his betrayal and make Venom trust him upon awakening? I'll let you decide with this final detail in mind. The XOF patch seen on Big Boss's sneaking suit in Ground Zeroes also appears on Venom's outfit in The Phantom Pain.
Hit him again!
Not your kind of people.
Clear!
You seem kind of phony. Everything's a lie.
How's he doing?
We are
Well, he's stabilized, but it took too long. He's in a coma.
something in your makeup.
What about him?
To switch things up from what I usually say in my videos about MGSV, this time I'll assume that the events of The Phantom Pain are indeed canon within the Metal Gear saga to walk you through my theory about Miller.
I get what you were trying with Paz. You wanted to get Snake any way you could. But after that, what you did, how could you do that to him?
After that wasn't me. You may not believe this, but I never intended for any of this to happen. Big Boss will wake up. And when he does, be there for him.
Following the destruction of Mother Base, the MSF are no more and Kaz reaches out to Zero once again. Zero claims he had no involvement in the attack, insisting that Skullface acted on his own. He then offers Miller a new deal. In exchange for funds to rebuild his base, he must be ready to play his part when the time comes. Kazuhira accepts, and while waiting for that moment, he spends 9 long years rebuilding his private army under a new name, the Diamond Dogs. He and his men notably take part in the Bush War in Rhodesia under Cypher's surveillance.
It's about our man, Major. He's been making some moves.
Miller? Yes, I know. Rhodesia, is it?
Yes, and up to his old tricks again.
No matter. He'll stumble soon enough.
Although he is under my jurisdiction now.
In 1984, Kaz is in Afghanistan searching for Emmerich when he's ambushed by the XOF's Parasite unit. During the battle against the Skulls, he loses his right arm and left leg. After discovering where Venom was being held, believing him to be Big Boss, Skullface, if he truly did work with Miller during the events of Ground Zeroes, betrays him and infects him with parasites, possibly even with the 3rd English strain of the vocal cord parasites, the very one Quiet believes she's carrying. Skullface's goal is simple. He wants to destroy Big Boss's army from within, using the closest man to him.
Very close to you.
After infecting Kaz, Skullface hands him over to the Soviets, who keep him prisoner in Gwandai, Afghanistan, knowing that Venom would eventually come for him. On March 21st, 1984, Venom awakens, and with the help of his imaginary alter ego Ishmael, he manages to escape the hospital in Dekilia before being rescued by Ocelot, who then helps him recover. Once back on his feet, Venom wastes no time and heads straight to Afghanistan to rescue Miller, whose parasites have slowly begun attacking his eyes.
Guys, it's me. I'm here to get you out. Snake. They do something to your eyes? No, it's just bright as all.
That's why he dodges Venom's question about it. He wants to hide what Skullface did to him and instead jokes about the loss of his arm and leg.
Not so heavy anymore. Our new mother base. I don't know how long it'll take, but I'll make it bigger, better than before. Gosh, what should I do? Boss, tell me like you used to.
After setting foot on the new Mother base located in the Seychelles, Miller, who has regained Venom's full trust following the events of Ground Zeroes, recovers quickly from his injuries and resumes his role as second in command of the Diamond Dogs while Snake is out in the field. That's when Ocelot tells him who Venom really is, Zero's plan, and Big Boss's true intentions.
Big Boss can go to hell. I'll make the Phantom and his son stronger to send him there. For that, I'll keep playing my role.
Feeling betrayed by Big Boss, who has definitely turned his back on him, Miller vows to take revenge on Skullface and then on the boss, using his Phantom and his sons to his advantage. Until then, he will play the role expected of him with Ocelot. His objective is clear. He wants to expand his base and gain the trust of his soldiers, only to take control of the Diamond Dogs, expose Venom's true identity to get rid of him, and finally get his revenge on Big Boss, making him a traitor in the eyes of everyone. Aware that Venom is still mentally unstable, Kaz will attempt to influence his decision-making to bring him to his side, but things will not go exactly as planned for him. As Venom returns to peak condition, the rapidly growing Diamond Dogs carry out mission after mission in Afghanistan. However, Kaz's true nature, which he had managed to keep hidden until now, is about to come to light, triggered by one decisive encounter with Quiet.
She's one of the Skulls. Hurry up and kill her.
No. Killing her would be a waste. Bring her back here.
While he chooses to listen to Ocelot rather than Miller, Venom spares Quiet and brings her back to his base. Worried that Quiet might jeopardize his plans, Miller sends the coordinates of Snake's helicopter to the XOF, which immediately dispatches a fighter jet after them. Even though Venom's life is in danger, the only thing Kaz says to him is,
"Don't lead it back to Mother Base,"
revealing how he truly feels about him. Shortly after, the Diamond Dogs receive a distress signal from Huey Emmerich, and Venom is sent to extract him from the central Afghan base camp. With Huey finally in his hands, Miller can now do what he failed to do with Quiet, create the perfect scapegoat for all the past and future misfortunes of the Diamond Dogs. To make sure Venom doesn't uncover the truth, Kaz subtly chooses when to record Huey's words during interrogation. For instance, by turning off the Walkman, just as Huey begins to speak about Miller's betrayal of Big Boss, Kaz ensures his own cover remains intact by manipulating the information Venom receives.
Take a listen to this later.
Now aware that Skullface is planning something in Africa, the Diamond Dogs continue their operations, this time in Angola and Zaire. As for Miller, who has gone completely blind due to the parasites, he's slowly learning to use them to replace his eyes, much like Code Talker.
The parasites also act as my eyes.
This is why he's able to spot Quiet, disarm one of the child soldiers so easily, and overall act as if he isn't blind at all.
No, he's no natural. Far from it.
As the missions in Africa continue, Skullface's true objective becomes clearer. The Diamond Dogs then encounter a particular child soldier known as the White Mamba.
So you're the so-called White Mamba.
Venom brings him to Mother Base against his will, and Miller, already aware of his true identity thanks to his connections with Zero, pretends to know nothing about him.
Boss, about Eli. I'd heard that one product of the Les Enfants Terribles project went missing in Africa. The age would be about right. Now, I'm not saying I think it's Eli, but I want to run a genetic test all the same. Don't worry, I'll have it done without him noticing.
Speaking of which, any news on the Sons? Two. Already? Really? But they're strictly an insurance policy, yes? So that's the idea. I wonder how Big Boss will respond.
With Eli, Kaz now has a new weapon to use against Big Boss. Meanwhile, the African child soldiers who had arrived earlier on Mother Base unknowingly trigger an epidemic that infects anyone speaking Kikongo. With the help of Code Talker, a scientist whose body has embraced the parasites, the casualties on the base are reduced and the infected are healed. The old man then reveals to the Diamond Dogs that Skullface plans to eradicate the English language from the face of the earth using his vocal cord parasites.
Skullface will pay for this.
Time is running out. The Diamond Dogs must put an end to Skullface's plans, and thanks to Huey, they finally know where to find him, OKB-0, deep within Afghanistan. Although this is Venom's first time setting foot there, this secret weapons research facility isn't entirely unknown to the Diamond Dogs. In fact, the numerous containers scattered around the compound bearing their logo strongly suggest a past collaboration between Miller and Cypher. Just a glance at the construction materials, the containers, and the pallets, all packed and ready to go, is enough to realize that XOF was using OKB-0 to produce resources and deliver them to the Diamond Dogs to help them grow. It would explain why Skullface's helicopter pilot is one of their own, and more importantly, how they've managed to expand their base so quickly. This raises the question, why would Skullface help the Diamond Dogs all this time?
Cypher will rewrite the records, and I will vanish from human memory.
Once Sahelanthropus is defeated, the final confrontation between Venom and Skullface takes place. Upon discovering that a vial containing the English strain of the vocal cord parasites is missing, Venom tries to get the truth out of Skullface, who tells him that the strain is very close to him.
Where's the other?
Very close to you.
At first, one might assume that Quiet is the one infected with this third strain, but at that moment the only person literally very close to Venom is Miller. What's more, if Venom never meets Quiet or chooses to kill her after their first encounter, Skullface would still say the exact same thing, leaving Miller as the only likely infected. This suggests that, with his skill for manipulation, Skullface may have convinced Quiet that she was the one infected, when in reality, it was Miller all along. This raises another question. Why doesn't Miller trigger an outbreak on Mother Base? One possible explanation is that, just as he did for himself using Code Talker's help, Skullface may have exposed Miller to a radiation therapy shortly after infecting him, allowing him to remain asymptomatic.
It's radiation.
Radiation, of course. So it can be used. This plan goes into action now.
Cypher is still out there. We know they've planted spies, parasites among us. Watch the man to your left, to your right. Assume nothing. Report everything. It's the only way to protect ourselves. From here on out, you will be my eyes.
With the first phase of his plan complete following the death of Skullface, Miller can now get down to business and take on Big Boss. But before that, he must get rid of Venom by making sure he has the full trust and loyalty of the Diamond Dogs before revealing to them that their leader is an imposter. To do that, Kaz will create an atmosphere full of tension, doubt, and suspicion on Mother Base, pointing to invisible enemies, spies who don't exist, except him.
Things aren't so cozy around here these days, huh?
Yeah. Every chance they get, they're telling us not to trust anyone. Commander Miller's gone a little cuckoo ever since that Skullface guy died.
All that Phantom Pain talk? I'd say all he's fighting is phantoms. Yeah, just wish he wouldn't direct it at us.
You got that right.
He'll then find a way to distract his men, giving Huey the chance to secretly repair Sahelanthropus unnoticed.
Eyes on Kazuhira. A message from the parasites.
Once the repairs are complete, Miller will work to win Eli over to his side without being directly involved.
There's reason to suspect he's behind all 6 escapes. We've already detained him. I'll be questioning him shortly. Wait. You'll be? Ocelot? Forget it. You're not needed.
To do so, he first tells him that Venom is Big Boss and that he is indeed his father, then intentionally allows him and the child soldiers to escape from Mother Base with Metal Gear, hoping the boy will eventually turn on Venom or Big Boss, something he'll do later on during Mission 51.
Goodbye, Father. I don't need you anymore.
Was Ralph really an accident? Or did Eli just rig it to stir up the boys? Either way, he had to have been planning for this all along.
Emmerich, we record all communications on Mother Base. That includes radio transmissions to and from homemade devices. You've been in frequent contact with people in America. A private biotech company, a client of which is DARPA. And they are connected to Cypher. You made a deal with Cypher.
Meanwhile, by mutual agreement with Cypher involving a new version of the vocal cord parasites, the organization provides Miller with a beta wave transmitter, which he secretly places on one of the X-ray scanners on the quarantine platform. This transmitter then causes the parasites in the infected staff of Mother Base to mutate when they use the scanner. As a result, a new epidemic breaks out among the Diamond Dogs, forcing Venom to kill his own men, all while Huey is watching.
Snake! You just killed your own... Emmerich, what the hell? Nobody asked for your opinion. You expect me to just stand by and watch this? You yourself said we're a family!
Although Miller accuses him of causing this second epidemic, Emmerich's reaction, both when Venom kills his men and during their cremation, goes against this accusation.
It's your fault! They're dead because of you!
What? He's right. I killed them with my own hands.
They were on your side! I'm on your side! And you turned them all to ashes!
They wanted you to shoot. It was that or be burned alive. Come on. Let's get this over with.
On closer inspection, what better way to turn the Diamond Dogs against Venom than to force him to kill his own men before Code Talker even says there is no other choice?
I'm here to kill us!
What better way to get rid of him than to lock him in the quarantine zone and let him get infected?
If anyone shows symptoms, you must put them out of their misery.
That includes me.
This second outbreak is anything but a golden opportunity for Miller, who whenever he feels his plans are threatened, hides behind an invisible spy to cover his tracks.
Miller, when you learned of the radiation leak, why did you evacuate the researchers in the research block to the containment block rather than outside? We're lucky this sealed the parasites inside, but I can't help but think it's because I suspected it was sabotage, that one of the researchers was responsible for the leak. So that is why you moved them somewhere still under construction and sent in an armed security force.
I won't scatter your sorrow to the heartless sea. Be with you. Plant your roots in me. I won't see you end as ashes. You're all diamonds.
Although his attempts to bring down Venom are well thought out, Miller continues to face a major obstacle. The clone is outshining the real one, both in his ability to survive and his leadership. Venom may not be very talkative, he's managed to win the heart of his men who, even if they remain unsure of his true identity, are willing to give their lives for him. And that's exactly what Miller wanted to avoid at all costs, because he needs the Diamond Dogs to get his revenge. With barely any options left, Kaz decides to go all in, and what better way to earn the loyalty of the Diamond Dogs than to bring them the so-called mastermind behind all their past and present misfortunes. By playing with their feelings, Miller manages to turn his men against Huey, who is then judged for crimes he didn't commit. Through a fake trial, with false evidence, no witnesses, no defense for the accused, and the only established fact being the murder of Strangelove, Miller manipulates everyone's emotions and declares Huey Emmerich guilty of unproven charges. With that, he hopes to win over the Diamond Dogs and Venom.
What should we do, boss? Just give the order. We'll handle the rest.
Prepare a life raft. Big enough for one. Food and water, too.
Boss,
he's leaving.
But to his surprise, Venom goes against him, showing his men the kind of leader he truly is.
Think of all the men! We didn't lose a damn thing! This is the enemy! And he's here on his knees!
Us. You are right, he is not one of us. But we are not responsible to judge an enemy. He leaves Mother Base, and that'll be the end of it.
anything? Still living up to her name.
With Huey now gone, the only remaining card in Miller's deck is Quiet.
The source of the infection is Quiet. Everyone suspects her.
Miller, that is a baseless accusation.
What if she's a spy?
What if I'm a spy?
But alone against everyone, Kaz can do nothing but follow Venom's orders if he doesn't want to blow his cover.
Boss, let her go. She won't speak, so she can't spread the infection.
As for Quiet, convinced she was infected by the English strain of the parasites, she saves Venom in Afghanistan before disappearing forever. Huey and Quiet having both left Mother Base, Kaz is left with no choice. If he wants to get rid of Venom, he has to reveal his true identity, as well as Big Boss's betrayal to the Diamond Dogs, hoping they'll turn against him. But unfortunately for Kaz, his plans are about to fall apart. Upon hearing the news, the Diamond Dogs, who have found in Venom a true leader worthy of Big Boss, choose to remain loyal to him. Realizing he would never be able to take control of Venom's army to achieve his goals, Miller decides to leave Mother Base. But it wasn't over yet for him.
"9 years ago, I thought everything had been taken from me. But now I really have lost it all. The boss, and the future we were building together."
Having played all his cards, Kaz has lost everything and now his back is against the wall. His only hope for revenge against Big Boss lies in one final move, his Joker. Miller thus returns to Cypher, giving up on his dream of power and military domination, now driven solely by a thirst for revenge.
If the day ever comes that you go back to Cypher, I'll aid the other son. And then you and I will be enemies too. One of us will have to kill the other.
Fine by me. I'll be ready for the new age.
Cypher offers him a cure for his infection, but only if he allows them to extract and keep the parasites in the process, which he agrees to. Several years later, likely in the late 80s or early 90s, Kazuhira makes a dramatic comeback to Mother Base, this time on Cypher's side, determined to cripple Big Boss's army by wiping out the Diamond Dogs before they can all regroup in Outer Heaven. Miller, alongside XOF, launches an assault on Venom and his men, as evidenced by the gunfire and explosions heard in the back.
Now do you remember who you are? What you were meant to do?
Caught off guard by the XOF attack and by Miller's presence alongside Cypher, Venom, through one final tape from Big Boss, finally learns the truth about who he is and realizes the full extent of Kaz's betrayal. After a fierce battle against the XOF, the Diamond Dogs are destroyed, leaving only a few survivors including Venom. Consumed by rage, he smashes a mirror before leaving for Outer Heaven, as he still has a role to play. Even though he has succeeded in destroying the Diamond Dogs, Miller remains full of hate toward Big Boss and eventually leaves Cypher to get his revenge. He then makes contact with Solid Snake, whom he meets in the US during the 90s after joining Foxhound. For a time, Miller trains him, hoping that one day the son will be able to confront his father or his father's phantom. And that day finally comes, first in 1995 during the Outer Heaven uprising, which ends with the death of Venom, and then in 1999 during the Zanzibar land crisis, where Snake defeats Big Boss, putting him into a coma and ultimately into the hands of the Patriots. It took Kazuhira Miller 15 years to get his revenge on Big Boss. Desperate to match the power of Zero and the Boss to shape the world as they did, Miller was never able to sit at their table and played on both sides only to lose on all fronts. At rock bottom, Miller had nothing left but revenge, and by letting it consume him, he ultimately met his demise at the hands of the man who played his cards right and remained loyal to Big Boss until the end.
We'll meet again.
Right. Miller dies on February 25, 2005 in Alaska, killed by Revolver Ocelot, who out of respect for his former partner, wears his coat during the Shadow Moses incident. In the end, while Miller's life is fairly well documented throughout the Metal Gear saga, many questions remain unanswered about his actions between the Phantom Pain and the original Metal Gear. In that regard, if this theory of Kaz being a traitor in MGSV is legit, then could the final scenes of the game and the war between Miller and the Diamond Dogs actually be the abandoned Chapter 3 of the Phantom Pain? After all, Kazuhira means peace in Japanese.